like, this was such a good.
I do it all the time. We
I said,
crying
well,
real
what
tears.
will not happen again is that. So hopefully, if anyone who could not make our first, hour
Yes,
just now, and so it won't be as long, I just want to make sure that I can still put out the recording because I think you said some amazing, amazing, amazing things. And so this is a re-record of the recording. So for anybody watching this again, hi
yes,
everyone. My name is Kalila Wright. I am the owner and founder of a power brand, Mess in a Bottle, but I am also the founder and creator of the T Class, a space where you can learn how to start, stabilize, and scale your own t-shirt company. So we
yes.
are on tonight with the amazing Kiara Bennett. She is the founder of brand the F Him Co. And she is here tonight to really tell us her story about how the F Him Co. got started and what helped her turn her pain into products. So welcome, Kiara.
Hi, hey, what's up?
Right? Again.
Right, again.
Right.
Yes, what's good?
So tell me again, I won't make this as long, but just tell everyone, how did you, turn your pain into a product? Like, what was your backstory on how you decided to even start the brand, the FM Co?
Yeah, so the FM Co is a brand that is geared towards helping women heal from narcissistic abuse, right? So obviously, I've had my own experience with that. I was in a relationship with a narcissistic person for 8 years. A lot of ups and downs. Ended up in a mental institution at some point. Two mug shots. All kinds of craziness was happening. But at some point, one day, I decided that I didn't want to let the things that this person was taking me through continue to stop me from finding my purpose, living out my dreams, just being the woman I was meant to be. So I was standing in front of a yard that him and I shared together, and out of nowhere I just was like, fuck him. That was that power statement that started this journey from being crying and being depressed and experiencing anxiety and not being myself to the woman you see in front of you today. Just very much so happy again, lots of positive energy and living out my purpose and helping other women make that same transition. So yeah,
Oh, I love
that was
that. So tell me a little bit more around like just like the branding side of things, because I see that you have the pink sweatshirt, your journals, your books, your things are, this popping pink. So tell me a little bit about how you decided to really, create the brand and what you created. And is that you, or did you have a designer help you with this?
So the brand idea and the brand identity was all something that I wanted to create. I came up with the idea of having the middle finger as our logo, our main logo image. The brand wasn't always pink, but the more I healed, the brand actually transitioned into a pink brand. Originally, it was orange and kind of tannish, very dull, but I just became a pink girly the more I healed and the happier I became. But the branding and the idea behind the branding was a part of my creative side. I'm a Cancer. I've always been creative. Always loved art, and always wanted to be. I always was a writer and always wanted to be a published author. So there you have all those things compiled into one that had me start with the journal and then transition into the rest of the branding. So just all kind of little pieces of Kiara. In order to create the actual image, I hired a I don't want to call her a graphic designer because she's not that. She's an amazing actual artist. In
Mm.
Atlanta, shout out to OG Identity. That is my girl. She took my idea for a middle finger and she put the pen to the paper and she created our digital art that you see here today as our brand image.
Okay, wonderful. And let me know as well, just in regards to how did you get your product into a physical form? Like what was your process like creating the journals and actually having physical product?
Gotcha. So I didn't have a lot of money, right? I needed to be creative and figure this thing out. I knew I wanted to sell the actual journal. So it took years and years of playing around in Canva to get as good as I am now with it. But I decided to format and create this journal digitally in Canva first. Put all the journal prompts on pages, put lines on pages, put my artwork on a cover, things of that nature. And then I took that digital format, downloaded it in PDF format, and then I went over to Barnes and Nobles or bnpress.com, and I decided to self-publish through that platform. And with self-publishing through that platform, you can not only sell the journals or the book that you have through their website, barnesandnobles.com, but they also allow you to print physical copies. And so once I uploaded it, it took about 2 to 3 days for them to format it, get everything together, and you can buy actual copies right through their website. And so I got my first copy and I used that for marketing purposes, and then I gained some traction. Then I started to buy more and more copies. So that's how I buy copies to actually sell the journal on my website or platforms like TikTok.
Okay, good. So can you share with the audience roughly how many journals you've sold since having this?
Yes. So in less than 2 years, we have sold approximately 20,000 copies of
Wow.
our 8 times viral, the FM Journal. And again, this brand started from less than $50. Okay. I did not have a lot of money. I had to figure that thing out and get creative and figure out the formatting and who I can print and publish with. But we are now up to approximately 20,000 copies between digital and physical form of this journal.
So tell me, how was your first experience with TikTok and why did you decide to really sell your products on TikTok?
So my very first experience was actually not with this brand. It was with a different brand that I had titled Ritual Bay. My son had to teach me how to use it because I used to be on there like, what is this? And how do you put music on here? And this is just crazy. Now, mind you, my son is like 10, 11 years old at the time. And he's going through TikTok like it's no tomorrow. And I'm like, well, how did you say to do this? So he had just taught me how to actually, I just had got to the point where I was comfortable enough to post a video and add a song with it in my other brand. So I do that one day. I stand to my door. I was late for dropping off a different product. So I stand to my door with this other product. I create an 8-second video. I pair it with the trending song at the time, which was Jasmine Sullivan, Pick Up Your Feelings. I go to
Oh,
Whole
what a
Foods.
perfect song.
Yes. I paired the product with that, and then I go to sleep, and then I wake up. I went to sleep with 300 followers roughly, and I woke up to 30,000 followers from that other brand. So I knew at that point that TikTok was a gold mine for bringing brand awareness and product awareness to anything that you're selling and anything you're doing. So when I started the FM company, based on that experience I had with Ritual Bay, it was a no-brainer to bring this brand to TikTok as well. And it's been a phenomenal experience. I think last year alone, we did $200,000 in sales on TikTok. So it's just been amazing.
Yes, congratulations. So tell me, as you grow the brand and you have multiple products now, I know you have journals, you have bags, you have sweatshirts. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about the products and even the product development of some of those items?
Yeah, sure. So obviously we got the journals right and how I self-published them.
Can you show it
I
to the camera a little bit?
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
how I self-published them, we have the journals. And so at first the company it was not a company. At first it was just a product. My website was www.thefmjournal.com. So well before I thought about having a brand and a company and a business and purses and all those other things, it was just journals. And so now we have part 1, we have part 2, which is self-love after a narcissist, part 3, which helps you go no contact. But then we ventured off into creating apparel because I wanted something that people can wear. I wanted something that people can make a statement with their outfit with, because you can't wear a journal. I needed some walking advertisements. So I decided to start making hoodies, and then I have bags that I manufacture in China. I press the hoodies myself using my heat press. But yeah, it started off just as a journal, and now that we've transitioned to the actual brand. So it went from the fmjournal.com to the fmco.com, more of an actual brand. So
And let me
yeah,
ask
that was
you,
the
as you are taking your customers like sort of on this, like, growing it from just a journal and something stationary to more like apparel, how are you seeing like sort of the sales or the transition? Do you think that customers need to get used to now like buying product or like buying apparel that they'll wear? Do you think that there's a difference between someone wanting to do a journal that says F him, but wearing a sweatshirt that says F him is, like, so how are you seeing the comparison to having stationery versus apparel?
So apparel it's not fairly new for our brand, but it's not as we haven't been doing it as long as the journal. I do think there's an audience for people who love apparel. And then there's an audience for people who are more so journal girlies. They love journaling. I think for our company, there's people, we really speak to the healing journey of the customer. And so all of it are like little statements and little bit of powerful things that they can do or wear. So I think both are doing great. Obviously, the journal is our number one seller, but there's different audiences. There's a lot of people who have bought the apparel and not the journal. There's a lot of people who bought the journal and not the hoodie.
Gotcha.
But then there's also people who have all of it. They just love the brand. They love everything that it stands for. So if I drop a journal, they're buying it. If I drop a hoodie, they're buying it. I think it's just different audiences, but they coexist so well, and that's why it's so important to have your branding intact versus just saying I want to sell a product.
Right. So as you now grow and develop the brand, I think that it's I know for advertisement purposes, sometimes having a curse word, I go through this all the time. I have bags that say shit or, things like that. And I know that sometimes that isn't something that is marketable on social media. They block that. So how do you plan to, TikTok, I think is probably less censored. And it sounds like you have more organic traffic than you are like paid advertisement traffic. So tell me, what is your thoughts on how you reach the demographic, with, having a brand that actually has a curse word?
So just a couple of months ago, I decided to actually pivot the brand, not completely, but just actually, I wanted to reach more women. There are women who do not like profanity whatsoever, but I did not want their dislike for profanity to be stronger than what they have access to in terms of healing. And so that's when we transitioned. We're not transitioned, but we came out with there's the fuck him collection and then there's the forget him collection. Exact same journal prompts in each journal, except for one has profanity, one doesn't. So in terms of us trying to, like right now, we're trying to get inside of Walmart and Target. We created something that was more marketable because honestly, I'm a mom. I did not want a kid walking down the journal aisle and seeing sunshine and roses, and then she sees fuck him.
Right.
So we came out with the collection, the Forget Him collection, that doesn't have profanity, is a lot lighter, but the same healing and the same intensity inside of the journal without the curse words. So that's how we decided to pivot as a brand. And I do think other companies can follow suit. You don't have to just scrap your original branding, which is what I thought I had to do. I just said, well, why not just have another collection that coexists with your original branding, but also complements it without overshadowing. So there we are, the Fuck Him collection and the Forget Him collection.
I think that is brilliant. And I think that it would definitely talk to the masses. I have learned that where I did a duffel bag and our duffel bag says, put your shit in the bag and just go. But then we have, put your mess in the bag and just go. And so, there's teachers who wanted to bring it to school, but they couldn't put the one that says shit. So, I think that it definitely makes a difference 100%. So I commend you for figuring out, a way that doesn't compromise the brand in any way. And I think it truly elevates the brand. So I think a really good choice. Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit about like your production for like your sweatshirts and t-shirts. How do you produce? Are you the one that's behind the heat press or are you drop shipping it? What is sort of your technique? Like what things are you doing to produce your apparel?
So at first I was in the drop shipping world. I will say that as a company that was growing, I was in a space where I wanted to maximize my profits. So now you can see me, doing my little 1-2 step in front of my heat press now on TikTok. But every piece of apparel now comes through my hands. I'm trying to teach my 14-year-old, but honey, that's a whole nother story. Homeboy want to get paid $20 for a hoodie. Pump
Okay.
the brakes. But yeah, now I love being hands-on with my brand. I know at some point I won't be able to do this. There's going to be ways too many other things that I have to do, and so I'll probably have to outsource this. But I love the idea of creating these products because these are my babies. These are truly my babies. They're truly near and dear to my heart. So I press every single hoodie in-house with my little pink heat press. And I buy my transfers from Ninja Transfers. Shout out to them because their quality is freaking amazing. It's
It
top
is. I
tier.
use
Their
them.
customers.
Yeah, for DTF transfers.
Yeah. I get my DTF transfers from Ninja Transfers, and then I get my blank hoodies from All Day Shirts. That is a Black woman-owned business. I love her brand. I support her brand. And they're fairly inexpensive as well. She's topping people in terms of price for small, medium, extra large, and large hoodies. $9.99. You can't beat it. So yeah, I just get my DTF transfers. I get my blank hoodies, and when they hit the house, we pressing, we turning it up, and we pressing.
I love that. I love that so much, so much. So let me ask you about content and content creating because you make like really great videos. And so I just wanted to ask, do you pre-plan? Like, how do you really figure out like your content from day to day? Are you planning out for the month? How do you strategize with this?
Oh my goodness. So honestly, I am a fly by day type of girl. When you see me, posting content, more than likely I just made it or I made it within the last couple of hours. In this moment in my brand, and since I've started my brand, I have not planned content. I probably have planned maybe 10 to 12 pieces of content in my entrepreneurship career. And while I do think it moving towards the future, and especially when I start to scale, I'm going to have somebody planning my content for me, have that social media planner, manager, etc. But right now I enjoy showing up as my authentic self. So, I take out that phone, and by the time I put this little hoodie on, I don't know what kind of magic in this hoodie, but I'm ready to dance when I get on. So yeah, right now I'm enjoying my audience, learning more about Kiara. I am the face of my brand right now. And so with that being said, I've just decided to just show up as Kiara, and whatever I'm feeling is when I take out that phone and I just record that content.
So how do you feel about, showing up as your authentic self? Do you feel like being that and doing that has really attracted people? And is it easier to do on TikTok versus other platforms?
So I will just say in general, I've made more money showing up as my authentic self than I ever have trying to box myself in or hide certain things about myself. Even the fact that I can't dance, right? The old me would never whip out a camera and show the world that I can't dance. But now I think I always rely on the phrase, your sheep will hear your voice. But if you're masking your voice, how can they hear you? If you're masking your message, how can your people resonate with what you're trying to do? And so yeah, when I started to show up as my authentic self and just who is Kiara, people buy from who they love, who they think they know, and who they trust, right?
For sure.
But you can't build that trust, and they can't get to know you if you're not showing up as your authentic self. So now I'm like, they about to get all this work,
Right.
no dance moves, no corny jokes, like they're getting
So
all
tell
of
me,
it.
and so tell me as well about the Maya principle, because you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. And so the Maya principle, listen, if you can go and research as much as you can about Maya, please do so. Brands like Apple and Tesla use the Maya principle. It stands for most advanced yet acceptable. And in a nutshell, you have to create a product or a brand that is more advanced than your competitors, but not too advanced where your audience cannot resonate with it, or they don't understand it, or it's complicated to use. So finding that intersection between more advanced than what's being offered, but familiar to your audience, that right there is like it's just been the cornerstone of my branding, of my marketing, and just really growing my business. So yeah, I truly believe as an entrepreneur, if you can incorporate Maya into your brand or your products or your services, you will be there will be no such thing as a saturated market.
I
None
love that.
whatsoever.
So lastly, let me know about, like Black Friday. How do you continue, being that you've sold so many journals? You said over 20,000 journals in the last 2 years. How do you continue to keep your audience excited, especially now that we are going into the Black Friday season? People see journals all the time. It's about to be, new year, new me, new, new this, but that's everyone. Everyone's going to be pushing a new item, pushing journals, all this. So how do you sort of sustain your audience within this time?
I think healing is a journey, right? I've been through it. I know exactly what it is that I needed while I was on the journey. And so I consistently create new products and offer new services. And I'm currently building a community called the FM Club where they can come in outside of journals and outside of what they already have and be engaged and also continue their journey. There's not just one journal, part one, there's part two, and there's part three. For Black Friday, we're planning on releasing a limited edition Fuck Him box or the F Him box, which will be a self-care box. And so we're going to have some body care in there, some body butter, sugar scrubs, body wash, and a candle I collaborated with a candle brand out of in Atlanta called State Your Mood. Shout out to her. She does amazing candles that smell so good. But yeah, I just continue to service them through products and through community on their healing journey. This is not I tell them all the time, this is not a one-time thing. You don't do one thing and you're automatically healed. Healing is a process. And so I cater to my customers' journey versus just their situation.
Yeah, I think that that is a really good thing, because I'm like, I think the more that people are, sort of listening to you, watching you, and as you are healing, or healed, I'm sure that people are like, dag, if they're going through something, they would, want that same kind of process. So I think that that
Right,
is a really good thing as well, because you could kind of pick people up from where they are and continue to sell them products and to continue to motivate them
right.
as well through their healing journey. So really good. And you mentioned something
Absolutely.
about having therapists on as well.
Yeah, so inside of the FM Club, we're going to have a licensed therapist come in every single month, and you can indulge in group therapy, like with a real therapist to help your healing journey. So all of those things are available to the customer, and that's how I keep them. It's just that community, right?
Hmm.
It's not about me just selling them something. I really care about their journey. I was on the bathroom floor, attempting to unalive myself at some point, to the woman they see in front of them today who's just vibrant and happy and servicing other women. So I truly try to make sure that I offer whatever it is that they need to get from where they are now, like you said, to who they want to be.
Right.
I'm living proof that they can. So who else better to show them, and who else better to navigate that journey with them other than, and me, the face of the brand.
Yeah.
So
Well, really
yeah,
good. Thank you so much, Kiara. Thank you for jumping back on with me. I know that we had an
of
excellent
course.
class, and like this is a do-over. But again, your
Yeah.
story was amazing, and I really wanted people to, who didn't get to log on tonight, to really get to see it. So again, giving you all your flowers. I think you did an amazing job
Thank
with
you.
turning your pain into product, and making sure that, like if people have an idea, they go after it. And it's not just like,
Right.
you turned your mess into a message, is what I always say for my brand. So you
Yes.
definitely took
Yeah.
that and turned it into a purpose. So congratulations again. And thank
Yeah.
you so much again for coming back on.
It's certainly my pleasure. And I know that man is somewhere like, God damn, I could not break that woman. Look at her.
Right. He's like, she done made a whole journal and a whole business over me. But yeah, who
Yeah.
laughs laughs, okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
So good job. Thank you so much
Well, it
again.
was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure anytime.
Yeah, so anyone just joining, I think Tanya just jumped on. Just know I finally hit record button, so I will be sending out this recording. So, all right, thank you guys for attending. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.